Hi guys, Maria here from Maria Unleashed. Welcome back to the episode. Today it's a special one because I'm celebrating 50 episodes. So I decided to do a Q&A in English and German. If you want to hear me talk in my native language, I will link the German episode below. Thank you so much for joining my channel, for watching, for leaving a comment, for liking, subscribing, all of that, because I know, I'm starting out, it's a small channel, and I know, following a channel that has 100 subscribers is just a whole different thing than a channel that has 10,000 subscribers. So I appreciate you. And thanks so much for your support and your questions for this one as well. I'm very excited. We're gonna jump right in. But first of all, I want to know, just for the record, just for me also to look back at some point when I hit the million views across the channel. For now, I have 200 and almost 220,000 views across the whole channel, which is not a lot, but for me it is. And it's so exciting. And I just wanted to keep that for the record because I'm going to do another Q&A for the 100th episode. And let's see, maybe we are going to celebrate 1 million views. I would like that a lot. All right, now let's get to the questions. Is it hard to record a podcast alone? Well, I guess it depends who you ask. For me, it's pretty easy because I'm literally recording podcast episode in my head all day long. So for me, the really tough one is looking into a camera and not into someone's eyes. That for me was the trickiest part. But no, recording a solo episode for me is very easy because I'm literally, contemplating this type of stuff in my head all the time anyway. And I'm the weirdo that walks by you just, telling myself like, hey, is that actually a good one? Or should I must look like a crazy person. In Spain, last year, I met someone like me on the street. I passed a guy who was also talking to himself, and I'm like, oh, that's what I must look like. No wonder. So no, for me it's not. There are other people who say it's completely insane doing it by yourself, an hour long talking to yourself, but I'm talking to you. It's not for me. It's not. It's a lot of fun actually. And for me, it's harder to actually get used to the camera. So but I'm very happy that I actually started because I never thought I would. I'm so glad that I did. And again, guys, you cannot start with 100,000 subscribers. And I was also like, I'm not good enough. I don't have great equipment. Let's wait. But then in the end, you have to start somewhere. So you start with what you have and you make it work. And you learn from it. Boom. Fun. And here we are celebrating 50 episodes. Again, thank you guys for joining. It's because of you. Thank you. What did I learn in 50 episodes? Yep, that is a good one. So what did I learn? For sure that be careful what you say. So I'm pretty unfiltered and I say it as it is. There are people who love it about me and people who hate it about me. It's, but for me, I just speak my truth and that is what I do. That is just what I do. So if people hate me for it, I don't really care too much because this is me and, I'm not doing it to hurt you. I'm just saying it as it is. So all I'm doing is literally, I hold up the mirror and I reflect the reality that I see. So if you want me to say something else, change the reality, right? So I know, sadly, we just had a little technical incident and I said a funny thing. What I didn't realize, I said something and then my boyfriend is like, just cracking up laughing and I'm like, what? And he said, what did you just say? And I said this and that and he's like, you can't say that. And it's probably when the camera stopped and the camera decided you can't say that. And I'm like, why can't I not say it? So it definitely taught me to I don't want to be a little bit more aware. Be a little bit more aware of what I say and how I say it. And I know so many people love it because it's funny, but then sometimes it definitely comes out wrong. And then that leads to issues, and especially if a lot of people see it and then they don't see the entire show, they just see a little snippet and suddenly it becomes a huge thing, which is so far away from the truth. So it's definitely that, to be a little bit more aware of how I say it, even though it's funny, and to be responsible for what I say. Because as I said, like, as my channel is growing, I have some responsibility as well. And I know I could use some, trigger topics or sit here half naked, and that would help me grow my channel like immensely. But again, I see it as it's also my responsibility, and I want to show that I don't have to get undressed to build up my community and stuff like that. So it's literally just like, okay, cool, I'm going to prove it is possible, and so many others are already doing it. So it's literally just that, like, be aware, be responsible. And another one I learned was to get used to the camera. That was the worst for me. Like, talking, not a problem. Like, you can't stop me. But like, getting used to the camera, that was hard. And to really understand to talk into the camera and not into, somewhere. I really like the one-on-one connection, and I always look into people's eyes. So yeah, that felt extremely weird. And it was like, the camera is like literally chitty chatty. Okay, and we are rolling. And I'm like, blackout. So it's getting better and better, which I'm very happy about. I'm very happy about it. But yeah, it felt weird. I was super insecure, and yeah, it was just weird. But now it's super normal. Like, the camera is on and I look, it's not weird at all anymore, and that feels very good. And yeah, I'm very proud of myself also. So yeah, I would say that is it. And another one I've learned, my speed. I talk very fast, and even faster in my native language. And now, spending time in Spain, because I'm learning and practicing Spanish, so I wanted to hang out with locals, and holy shit, they speak so fast. So I actually ended up practicing more with YouTube and watching people in Cuba or South America or Mexico, because I just prefer the Spanish there. But the Spanish in Spain are like bara 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 bara, and I was like, and that actually helped me to understand, okay, that is what it must be like for other people when they're listening to me. And then also to see myself and hear myself, which was insane. It's the worst. And I'm wondering how people can listen to me. Thank you so much. Because honestly, I cannot listen to my own voice. It's like literally like, make it stop. But if you do get over it, and if you do listen to yourself, I must say I realized how fast I was talking. And so I'm actively trying now to speak a little slower, a little more like just, relaxed. So yeah, that's another good one I'm very grateful for, which I, didn't know. And I realize now in 50 episodes. What's your podcast setup, and how do you manage it along the road? Yeah, I'm going to share some funny behind the scenes. And you guys, it's not professional at all. I wanted to save these pictures for my actual million views for the channel, because I do want to show you, listen, that is how everyone starts out. It's those oh gosh, not that. It's that moment, but it's also kind of sweet and cute to see, hey, I like that, to see how very famous people started out, and they started out just like we do. So, it's totally possible. But yeah, is it hard to do it, to maintain the podcast on the road? I would say yes and no. So equipment wise, I don't have a lot. I have a mic, I have a cell phone, a computer, and that's pretty much all you need. I have a wonderful boyfriend who helps me with everything, and just figuring out all the software as well. And I have to say, in the beginning, when I recorded without the video, it was super easy because I could do it myself. But now with the whole setup and the camera, and I'm sitting here and the camera is there, and it's like, that freaks me out a little bit, and I'm glad that I have help, and I'm glad that I don't have to edit the entire video. So, because that would actually like drive me crazy. But I would say we are doing pretty well, considering that we have zero budget. But it is changing because I was saving up, and also now started my Patreon channel for exactly that, because I have big ideas, very cool plans that I want to achieve. And obviously it is just also a cooler experience for you with better equipment, which is why I started Patreon, and also I saved up, and hopefully from next month on I have better equipment. So we have a few more lights coming, and we have a better, like a tripod, because right now you don't want to know what we are working with. We literally just, again, use what you have and make it work. But it is definitely better and easier and more professional if you have proper, equipment. But again, we are dealing on a very low end. So I would say in total, everything without the computer and without the phone, it's roughly €1,000 for what we have and what we use. So it's not too bad. But yeah, I had to save up for that as well. And now the next one I'm really looking forward to are lights. Oh my gosh, that one was hard, because I have to play hide and seek with the sun. And it's always, in Spain, the traditional housing there is very dark, because they are, built to keep you cool inside. And if you want to be outside, enjoy the light and the warmth, you just leave the house. So sitting there in a very dark house with no natural light coming in, that was very tricky. And that makes it very hard, especially in winter, where in Europe, we have barely sunshine. So that's a tricky one that I would say is annoying to maintain, just to, make sure that I can get out the episodes on a weekly basis. Because if it's raining, and if it's just, or I don't know, we had a power cut as well, or the big one where everything was out, entire Spain was offline. I mean, there's only so much I can do, right? So I try to just maintain the weekly episodes. I would love to share more, but at the moment that is really all I can do. So I would say, is it hard to maintain it on the road? Yes and no, because a small setup is easy. It's easy to transport, it's just easy to set up as well. But it can get tricky if you don't have lights or a proper mic, or a proper camera. That makes it definitely harder. How do you get guests? Good one. For me, it's pretty easy, because I usually approach people that I really like or admire, and most of them that I know they have been in my lives for a long time, because I started traveling 15 years ago, and I'm meeting the most amazing people across the globe. And even back then, I knew at some point I'm going to return, and I'm going to bring my camera. And back in the day, I didn't even know about podcasts, so I always believed I'm going to have a little vlog, and I knew that I will interview every one of these amazing people, because they have so much wisdom and knowledge to share, or just funny stories, or I don't know, just they are just being such a cool being, where I'm like, oh my god, can you please just be yourself, and let's have a cool, funny, educational conversation. So that is easy, because these guys I know, and I'm literally just like, hey, can you please come onto the show? And usually they say yes immediately. Sometimes they get a little bit nervous with the camera. So that is usually the only thing where they're like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, oh, you must. So yeah, but that is easy. If I don't know the people I would love to have a conversation with, I just ask, either via email or on Instagram. I just reach out to them, sometimes both, because sometimes I don't know whether it's, ignoring me or ghosting me or what, I don't know. I'm just like, hey, maybe they didn't see it. I'm just gonna ask again. And sometimes, again, you must be, or you have to understand, the worst that can happen is they say no. And then what? Your life, goes on. And yes, it's sad. It's sad, but it's not the end of the world. So this is why I always just, go out there. I am sending them my invitation and I tell them exactly why I want to speak to them and why I believe they have so much to share and to give. And I believe my main goal is actually to inspire you guys and to give you like not just entertainment, but to give you a little bit of hope and just inspiration and motivation. And often people are scared to ask because they are afraid to hear no. And the way I see it, everyone is entitled to say no. Not everyone has a time. Not everyone has a time while I'm small, right? Because I am taking hours of their time. So I also want to make it worthwhile for them. And obviously, it is more attractive the bigger you are, for sure. But we are on it right now. So yeah, other than that, I don't take it personally. And honestly, that's just my take. For me, a no doesn't mean no. It means no, not right now. And when I, see it in that way, it's like, hey, cool. I have time to just become better, to, try to grow my channel. And that is really all I can do. I can become better. I can grow my channel. I can attract, more people. And then again, I can go back, reach out again and say, hey, listen, I just want to catch up. And last year I asked you, would you be interested now? I'm grown now. I have X, Y, Z, right? Whatever followers or reach. And then people will tell you yes or no or what the problem is. And that's how I see it. So, don't give up immediately if people say no or if they don't get back at all. Try again, reach out again. Because sometimes it's just, you know it for yourself probably. You have so many emails and DMs and whatnot. Maybe they just didn't see it at all. So try again. Be nice, be professional, friendly. And I'm pretty sure, if it's meant to be, that's also my take. If it's meant to be, it's going to happen anyway. And I do have some people that I reached out to and they just keep ignoring me. Well, I'm like, I'm just manifesting it. Well, I'm like, I'm not going to tell them, but I know I'm going to have them on the show. And if it's meant to be, it will work out. So, yeah. Let's see. I will keep you posted on that one. If it happens, I'll let you know. And so no, it's easy. Just ask. How do you start? So this is one I get often, all the time, especially face to face. People always ask in several languages. So I get, how do you start a business? And how do you start advertising if you are only starting out? Now, that's a big one and it's an important one. And it's funny because I usually, I get this idea coming back from traveling the world. Hey, let's start a company. I do crazy shit sometimes. And I have never really thought about it. I was never like, what if this and what if that? And, I have a feeling, I feel like, hey, I should actually start a business and start selling my product. I should, or whatever, offer my services. So I don't really overthink it too much. I do overthink other stuff, not this one. So for me, it happens quite naturally. And that is the best. But yeah, it is extremely complex, this question, and it really depends literally on every person. Like every individual is different, every business is different. So the answer is, it really depends on you. But here's what I can say, and this is just rough, that is just a very rough guideline, but it's pretty much always the same, and you have probably heard it before, but it is really get to know your dream audience. So I'm gonna do a special, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a podcast episode about it or if I'm only going to do one for Patreon, but I actually have a few pages here written down where I'm going to go deeper into the subject and give you some examples because I really like practical examples. So if you are into that, please check my Patreon. And yeah, other than that, just follow along and I'll see if I can squeeze that one in as an episode as well. But I would say roughly, you want to know your audience. You definitely want to know your service and quality and knowledge. That's important because you don't want to have customers that know more than you do. So please make sure to always, understand your knowledge. Like, where am I starting? Am I good enough to help others who are just starting out? Is my knowledge 500% better than the average person? Then you can definitely, your focus changes, and also the price range, right? So it really depends on that, on your very unique situation. Like, who is your client base and how can you help them? How can your product or your service help them? And then the benefit of the benefit, like, what does that mean, right? So I'm going to give you a quick one here. Let's say when people ask, like, why should I use your skincare, right? I'm like, listen, you don't have to, you can do what you want. But people usually see the price tag and then, why should I buy this if I can just buy one for €2 a product? I'm like, well, now let's get into that. So my skincare actually heals the source of the issue. So in the long run, you are going to need less of your products and you can live worry-free. So it's, first of all, it's your health. It's travel easy. That's very important for me as well. I want it easy, I want it simple, and I want effectiveness. And this is what I can offer you. And I know people appreciate that. And that is usually people like me, same situation. They travel a lot. They don't want a million products. They just want one or two, and they want them to work. And then the benefit of that is that you need less products, which is amazing. So you actually save money in the long run. And also, less products or fewer products mean you're also not polluting, right? So you're just saving so much waste product as well, and that's just a side effect. So that's not even anything I'm trying to do. That's just a natural side effect. And this is what, like, a practical example that helps my customers and clients to decide whether or not they're a great fit for my product. And that's probably what I would also do. Map it out. Write down what are your strengths, just to find out what you want to do, find out who is your ideal customer and how much can you ask for, right? Your charging price. So you don't want to underprice and you don't want to overprice your product or service. It is a tricky one. And trust me, I haven't met one person who nailed it the very first time. So it's usually, you start somewhere and then you realize, oh, I actually need so much more time prepping or in the post-production or whatnot. So actually I should ask for this or that. And that's fine. So, don't be ashamed. It happens to the best of us. So yeah, I would say that is a good start. Just really get to know your dream audience. You want quality customers or whatever it is you are selling, but make sure that you are delivering quality and you also want that in return. So yeah, I would say that's how I would go for it. And then the advertising part, how do I start advertising? Because I know you have no customers, you have no reviews yet. It's a bit tricky, and there are so many others out there who have thriving businesses already with like solid customer base. Honestly, everyone starts at some point. So I would say that is how I do it. I ask friends, colleagues, just anyone who I believe would be a good match for my products or services. And I say, listen, do you want to test this? Or do you want to buy this for, whatever? Give them a special deal, like a launch deal, and say, listen, you help me, I want to help you, right? So we help each other. So you are getting a beautiful product. And if you want, please share it on social media, give me a review I'm allowed to use, or just, comment, whatever it is. So just ask. That is my advice, ask. It's, most people are so happy to help or be the first customer. And especially if it's online, you need people who are actually, selling. And if you are paying someone and say, hey, listen, I know it's not the coolest, you don't want to, but you have to get started and you need your first orders in and you want to trigger the algorithm. And that's just what you have to do. And other than that, it's just remain or maintain the quality. And people will come back. So yeah, I hope that helps. And again, if you want more examples and just a little bit more detail, I will do an episode or an article on Patreon for this one. Now, next question. What is the most common mistake people do in regards to skincare? Using too much. Very easy, very plain, but this is usually it. Like, people believe more complicated is better. More is better, which is not true. So I actually recorded a little short about this years ago. I'm gonna link it below, and I answer like but I have 3 or 5 of the most common mistakes, but mistake number 1 is literally using too much. And here's why. Again, practical example to visualize it better. Imagine you eat, let's say you have a buffet and people say eat everything you want and everything is delicious, and on its own it's all very healthy. We're not even talking like shitty food, we're talking delicious, amazing food. But no matter how great each food on its own is, if you are overeating, if you are mixing and matching and just overdoing it, your stomach is upset. And how do you feel? You will feel sick. It will make you feel sick. And the same happens to your skin. So yeah, don't overdo it. It is really not that hard. It's actually very simple, and it's just a little tweak in your head of believing more is more, more is better, which is really not true. I never made a recipe at home. What would be a good first try? So we are talking about DIY skincare in this example. And I would say, honestly, I would start simple and I would use a recipe that does not include any water, because water means preservation, and that's a whole separate subject. I would say start with, let's say, super easy but so much fun to make, a DIY lip balm. Because what I like a balm that is used not just for your lips, but also for mosquito bites, dry skin, little burns, scratches, all of that, right? Because I like to have one for everything. So that's super easy, it's super quick, it's very inexpensive. You can start with only 2 ingredients. I'm also going to link the reel I made in this video. I'm also going to link to my library and my video courses, because I will talk about it a lot, and I also have online workshops that show you exactly what you can do and how you can do it. Or another one would be a DIY plant-based deodorant or a solid perfume. Just fun and easy, and it depends on your preferences, but I would say start with one of those. And then if you like it, you can always upgrade later. Liquid or solid soap? short and sweet, I like it, and it will always be solid soap. You guys, if you haven't tried it, I'm not talking about the stuff you can buy in everywhere. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about traditional handmade soap. So if you have never tried it, give it a go. It is amazing. You're never gonna go back. And again, I like it because it's easy. You can travel with it. It lasts long. You can just throw it in. I always like my little travel soap dishes. Yeah, that's what it's called, I guess. That's how I call it, a soap dish. I'm not sure, but it's literally like a little box full of soap. And off you go. Easy. I like it nice and easy. So liquid or solid? Always solid soap. Now I have, my note says olive oil question. And that's a funny one because that is part of a video. And I usually, I can't remember what it said exactly. So I'm not sure if I was making a product there, if I was making a lip balm or a rescue balm or...
Lip balm looks like olive oil color.
Okay, yeah, I probably made like a rescue balm, or I made who knows, I have to check, but it's probably, if it is in a small little thing and it looks like a balm, then it's probably... Okay, I'm gonna look it up. It doesn't really matter, but the question was, is it frozen olive oil? And I usually hate stupid questions. In this case, I find it a very, very funny and cute question. So it was so surprised by it. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna take that into the Q&A, because for me, it wouldn't even occur to me to ask this, but it is my daily bread, so to speak. And for me, no. So the answer is no, it is not frozen olive oil, but very good, interesting question, because it looks like it. You could actually also, you could probably do it. Most people don't know that if you put olive oil into a cold place and it's below Ooh, I'm not sure, but I would say probably below 10 or 8 degrees Celsius, it becomes solid. And most people don't know that. It's a bit like coconut oil, but coconut oil is solid, around 20 degrees even. Anyway, it is like that. And yeah, sure, if you do freeze it, you can use it, but it's gonna be a solid thing. And if you live in a country where, let's say, it's warm indoors and very cold outside, then you're gonna have a liquidy, olive oil once you get back inside and once this whole paste warms up again, which is why I would never recommend it. I would always make sure to stabilize it with another plant butter or beeswax, for instance. But yeah, very good question. All right, and now we are at the end, 50 episodes. Again, if you want to hear me talk in German, I will link the episode below, but I'm going to answer the same question, so don't worry if not. Thank you guys for following along. Thanks for, if you are new here, thanks so much for, just, helping out, and comment if you like. Always tell me if you want a specific topic, or just like, if you have a question, because I do love Q&As and I love to interact with you. And yeah, let me know. And other than that, I would say to the next 50 at least. And again, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the difference for the next 50. And yeah, crazy, man. 50 episodes. It is insane. And I'm going to tell you, if you were thinking about starting your own podcast, and it is hard, the first, the second, the third, but suddenly it's 50 and it's like no time has passed. And I know it's going to feel even crazier when it's 100 or 200 episodes. So if you want to do it, just do it. Start with what you have, make use of what you have, grow, get better. And, suddenly you have 100 or 1,000 or 5,000 episodes. I mean, crazy. Mwah. Guys, I'll see you in the next one. And what can I say? Here's to us. Thank you for joining, and thanks for watching, and thanks for your amazing support. Bye.